Tonight, battling the elements to make a living.
When it's damp, there's no real point in harvesting because it's just a mess.
Some farmers in our region forced to adapt during the rainiest summer in Ottawa's history. Sweeping changes coming to OC Transpo's schedule.
The buses are going to show up when they're supposed to, whatever. We'll see what happens.
The new fall schedule set to be rolled out as the transit agency prepares for an influx of riders. And the cost of having fun at the fair.
I get it. It just makes it hard for a family in the community to be able to afford the fun things for the kids.
What families and fair organizers are noticing this summer amid rising costs. Good evening. We begin tonight with what has been a record-breaking summer of rain here in Ottawa. More than 500 millimeters has fallen so far, making it the wettest summer on record. And for farmers across the region, all of that water has been both a blessing and a curse. CTV's Josh Marano joins us now. And Josh, what has all this rain meant for this year's crops?
Yeah, Austin, it really depends on what's growing and where. For some farmers, this summer has been about working around the rain. For others, making the most of it. At the Carp Garlic Festival, Markus Ticknovich has plenty to show for this year's harvest.
We'll cut you a deal.
But getting it out of the ground hasn't always gone according to plan.
When garlic wants rain, it definitely wants it, but when it doesn't want it, it kind of makes it just as well known.
Too much moisture around harvest can make garlic harder to dry and cure, creating conditions for mold.
When it's damp, there's no real point in harvesting because it's just a mess.
Ticknovich says some varieties saw about a 25% crop loss to fusarium mold.
Something that looked good when it came out of the ground is now showing some yellowing, some pulling away from the skin, definite signs of fusarium mold.
But even among garlic growers, the impact hasn't been the same.
I've got excellent tile drainage, so the water didn't stay and ruin my garlic. Fortunately for me, it wasn't too much of an effect.
The leaves were becoming really dry really quickly, so that's when I knew when to harvest the garlic. So we harvested 2 weeks earlier.
More than 500 millimeters of rain has fallen in Ottawa this summer, making it the wettest on record, but its impact isn't so cut and dry.
Fruiting vegetables, of course, so tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, they all seem to be doing well.
At the Westboro Farmers Market, Joseph Harrell says this year his crops have fared well, a stark contrast from last year.
We have a pond that went down 20 feet last year. I know my neighbor was trucking in water until he couldn't afford it anymore.
But too much water can still crack tomatoes and keep tractors out of saturated fields.
It's a mixed blessing.
One Ticknovich is happy to take after last year's dry conditions.
I can't complain, and I won't allow myself to complain. So really my cup is full, just as much as my rain gauge is.
Farmers say this year has been all about adapting, checking crops closely, and in some cases harvesting early to stay ahead of the rain. Austin.
CTV's Josh Marano reporting live for us tonight. Josh, thank you for this. First look at the weather forecast, and not expecting any rain, at least not for the rest of this evening and into tomorrow morning as we take a look at the weather forecast. We do expect, I should say, that things will be clear tonight, as I mentioned, and then there is a chance that the rain showers will come in late Sunday evening into Monday, but for the next 24 hours it's going to be pretty nice. A little bit of cloud coverage tomorrow at around noon with 20 degrees. 22 is the anticipated high, somewhere around there, with the clouds starting to roll in again in the late afternoon into the evening. Right now it is clear. It feels like 24 degrees. Well, turning now to some breaking news in the downtown core. There is a large police presence near the Chateau Laurier after a violent altercation. At around 4:20 this afternoon, paramedics say a man in his 50s suffered an injury to his hand from an edged weapon, but he refused to be taken to hospital. There is still no word on any suspects. A stretch of the sidewalk near Wellington Street is cordoned off, and police are still on the scene. We have reached out to Ottawa Police for more information, but we have yet to hear back. And a teen is recovering tonight after they were stabbed in Lower Town last night. It happened on Old St. Patrick Street near École Secondaire de la Salle shortly after 9 o'clock. The victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. They were brought to hospital by paramedics last night. Police say no suspects have been arrested and an investigation is underway. Anyone with information is asked to contact Ottawa Police or Crime Stoppers. Well, turning now to a major shakeup that is coming to OC Transpo as thousands of commuters head back to work and students return to school. Starting at the end of this month, the transit agency is adding express routes and changing schedules. But more than that, there is the promise of more reliable service. CTV's Leah Larocque has more on this. Leah.
Well, Austin, OC Transpo is preparing for a big test this fall, whether the service can handle the influx of federal public servants who are returning to the office as well as back to school. OC Transpo General Manager Rick Leary says he's confident, but riders we spoke to say the proof will be in the pudding. For Katie Caravan, this is the part of the commute that matters most. Not what the schedule says, but whether the bus actually shows up.
Well, theoretically, there's one scheduled in 10 minutes, but I don't know if it'll show up because it's not showing up on the GPS.
Starting August 31st, OC Transpo is boosting key services, preparing for more federal public servants back at the office and students like Caravan going back to class.
Trying to get people into the right areas, that'll be fine, but I do feel like it'll be a challenge one way or another.
OC Transpo rolling out 7 new express bus routes connecting transit stations and key employment areas. And there are also schedule changes on 30 of the city's busiest bus routes.
And they said that they're improving, like the buses are going to show up when they're supposed to, whatever. We'll see what happens.
Line 1 service is also getting a boost during the week. Rush hour train service will be every 5 minutes instead of 4, and midday trains will come every 6 minutes instead of 10.
Every 3 minutes would be good.
Line 2 will also start earlier at 6 a.m.
The English school boards and federal government workers both coming back at the same time, you know it's going to be pure chaos.
But for one councillor, there is still a missing piece to a smooth commute.
The long overdue eastern extension. I've never, ever believed it. I believe it this time, this fall, we will see the train service in the east. But between back to work September 1st and when that point in fall is, that's to be determined.
OC Transpo says the new changes will provide more accurate and reliable schedules.
It's a sort of wait and see thing.
If the buses were more reliable, there would be less traffic, right? Because people would be able to rely on the bus and take the bus.
Now, these are a lot of changes to remember. So OC Transpo says that starting August 31st, there will be staff at key locations helping commuters navigate the changes. Back to you.
CTV's Leah Larocque reporting for us tonight. And regular service is back on for O Train Line 1 after repairs to damaged overhead wires. OC Transpo says crews worked overnight to repair the wires between St. Laurent and Cyrilville stations. The repairs caused major service disruptions, with the transit agency bringing in replacement buses. In a memo from OC Transpo, they say repairs are complete and service is back to normal on all platforms. Now, you can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen to link to us online or visit ctvnewsottawa.ca. We have more details on those sweeping scheduled changes at OC Transpo. Well, the car nearly crashed straight into the Rideau Canal right beside the Canal Ritz this afternoon. Ottawa police say a cyclist was hit by the car near the canal pathway, and that cyclist suffered non-life-threatening injuries. It happened at around noon off Queen Elizabeth Driveway near 5th Avenue. Paramedics say a woman in her 30s was clipped by the vehicle while she was on her bike. She, along with the driver of the car, a man in his 70s, were assessed at the scene. The vehicle crashed right through the barricades, as you can see there, along the canal, and was hanging off the ledge before crews were able to pull it back. And one driver is in hospital with serious injuries after colliding with a tree near Perth. Ontario Provincial Police say the single vehicle crash happened on Highway 7 near Drummond Concession 9A shortly before 2:20 this morning. Police say the lone occupant was ejected from the vehicle on impact, and a stretch of the highway was closed until about 12:10 this afternoon. Spending millions of dollars on infrastructure is useless if it doesn't work properly. That's the lesson being felt daily in a small town in eastern Ontario. Wolfe Island has a brand new dock and a sleek European ferry, but things keep breaking down. CTV's senior correspondent Judy Trin on the mounting frustrations.
On the St. Lawrence Seaway, an elusive sight as a $50 million boat appears on the horizon.
It is like whale watching, you know? Yeah, it's a rare thing.
Since it was put into service 2 years ago, the Wolfe Islander 4 ferry, purchased by the Ontario government, has been docked longer for repairs than it has been transporting passengers. It's supposed to connect the 1,500 residents of Wolfe Island to Kingston. The boat has been fixed, but it's not yet ready for vehicles.
I need to have people actually get to work, get to school, get to have their emergencies attended to. I don't have time for something that is so much of a wussy ferry.
The ferry was built by a Dutch company. In 2024, it was blown off course by strong winds and run aground. In 2025, the boat lost all power after an engine malfunction. And the hybrid vessel can only run on diesel because the recharging station hasn't yet been built. The contingency plan involves bringing back the old ferry.
Did you count on a boat that's true? We count on the Wolfe Islander 3.
The Wolfe Islander 3 has been immortalized in a folk song, but it's more than 50 years old, and it also breaks down.
It is a regular weekly event, sometimes multiple days in a row.
It's driven up costs for hotel owner Chris Brown. He's had to organize private boats to get his guests on and off the island.
And that boat is considered an extension of the highway, like any other responsibility of the province. It needs to be functional.
The impact is deepening. The town has lost doctors. The public elementary school has shuttered and is up for sale. Young families are moving to the mainland.
If they're trying to kill my community, they're doing a fine job of it, but I'll fight them tooth and nail.
The Ontario government says Wolfe Islander 4 will be back in service soon and in full electric mode. But the province hasn't set a date. Meanwhile, the residents we spoke to remain skeptical. Judy Trin, CTV News, Wolfe Island, Ontario.
Fair season is in full swing across eastern Ontario, with several occurring this weekend. But this year, families and event organizers are facing rising costs. CTV's Kimberly Johnson joins us in studio after spending the day at the Van Vliet Hill Fair. And Kimberly, what are you hearing?
The 182-year-old fair is facing a modern problem. Rising costs, but it's part of a wider issue for fairs across the province, and some families say the cost of admission is creating a wallet crunch.
Going to the fair is a classic summertime event for the Cairns, but now the family of four is paying more.
It just didn't work for us to come for the full weekend, all four of us. We approached it more of like a cost-effective way.
As the rising cost of fuel and food hits Canadians across the country, fairgrounds are no exception. Rebecca Cairns says this year, full weekend passes for the whole family would cost $260.
And for us, it just didn't work to do the whole weekend for all of us. Next year, that'll probably be our scenario, with the 2-year-old being older and being able to do more rides.
This year, Van Vliet Hill Fair officials say they are facing increased gas and midway prices. So the 182-year-old fair had to raise prices by $5 a ticket.
There's always the challenge of expenses. Everything costs money. It costs money to have all this. It costs money to bring all this in. We try to make it as affordable as we can given the rising costs of everything.
I know last year was 25, this year's 30, you know, so it is going up. So for a family of four, it adds up, you know.
Pierre Martin says he noticed the increase, and since he's not getting on the rides, for him, the ticket price is simply to walk around.
I mean, everything is going up, right? So it's what it is. It's what it is. But look, everybody's here, so.
And for this family of almost 8, they say it's still the most cost-effective family trip they can make.
We've got an 11-year-old down to a 3-year-old now, and so everyone's got, you know, good opportunity to play. We get the most bang for our buck.
But as costs continue to go up for community events, others say it can be a challenge.
I get it. It just makes it hard for a family in the community to be able to afford the fun things for the kids.
Residents tell me they have seen food costs go up too. So many people have been telling me that they're bringing their own food and drinks to have during the day. And at least at this fair, that's welcomed, with officials saying that's all part of the effort to help keep costs low. Austin.
Yeah, and Kimberly, it did look busy there as well today, for what it's worth. A lot of people still going. CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Thank you very much for this. Well, Quebec's premier held urgent talks with dairy producers after learning that sector is on the table in trade talks with the United States. The province is home to nearly half of Canada's dairy farms. Here's CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin with the premier's promise to defend that industry.
The Quebec government convened an emergency meeting with farmers, dairy producers.
Il y a encore beaucoup d'incertitudes qui planent.
Gave an update on trade negotiations. The province's economy minister, Bernard Drainville, said he had just been briefed by Ottawa.
La question de la gestion de l'offre fait partie des discussions.
And he said that supply management was part of discussions. Now that's exactly what the agricultural sector did not want to hear. Supply management sets production quotas in sectors including dairy. It also fixes prices and limits import from the U.S. and other countries. For producers and the Quebec government, diluting the system is a red line.
We want no more concessions in the supply management system. We've given before a lot, and in the milk sector, it's a double impact in Quebec, as we represent 50% of the milk production in Canada, 50% of the cheese manufacturing.
Trump has long targeted Canada's supply management system, calling it a protectionist measure which treats American farmers unfairly. After the meeting, Quebec's premier declined to provide more details about what aspect of supply management may be part of trade talks.
I will not mention any detail because we don't want to negotiate in the public, and therefore we will remain discreet on that.
But dairy producers say protecting the industry is crucial to the survival of rural Quebec.
It's the most important production sector in Quebec, and they keep all those villages dynamic and alive and send kids to school.
And the premier says the Quebec government and the entire agricultural sector will stand together to fight against any changes to supply management. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
And as those trade negotiations continue between Canada and the U.S., a new survey is giving insight into what approach Canadians want at the negotiating table. According to new numbers from Nanos Research, almost 70% of Canadians want the leaders to resist making concessions on trade and economic issues, even if it means worsening relations with the U.S. Only 23% are in favor of making concessions to improve relations with Washington.
A lot of this has to do with the fact that, it's been clear on a range of issues that the government, the Canadian government at least, has been trying to move forward on the trade relations and, things like the Gordie Howe Bridge and other things, but that they haven't really been able to make the breakthrough. So what this suggests is that maybe Canadians want to see a little more spine from the Canadian position in what I'll call a true negotiation between Canada and the United States.
I'm turning now to British Columbia, where some residents of Summerland can finally return home after evacuation orders were downgraded to alerts.
We have a re-entry plan, which we're now executing. So Trout Creek was the first one. We're going to go neighborhood by neighborhood, as it's safe to do each one. And so the next neighborhood, it should... depending on what the fire does at any given day, we should be able to bring the next neighborhood back in the next couple days.
Evacuation orders further north in Peachland have all been downgraded to alerts as well. Meanwhile, new evacuation orders have been issued for other regions as the out-of-control Bald Range wildfire shifts south. Well, 5 people are injured after an early morning shooting at a university in Petersburg, Virginia. The shooting involving multiple suspects took place at Virginia State University, and that's about 40 kilometers south of the state capital, Richmond. This was the scene as the investigation continues. Police say they are looking for multiple suspects. A temporary lockdown on campus has since been lifted. The university in a statement says all 5 individuals were transported to hospital where 1 person remains in critical condition. police and university officials have not identified any of the victims or said whether they're connected with the university. And turning now to a condensed day of events at the Ontario Honda dealers Indy north of Toronto, after organizers canceled yesterday's track sessions because the course was not completed in time. Fans gathering after the racing weekend in Markham, and they were given the green light today. It's the first year that city is hosting the Indy since it moved from downtown Toronto. CTV's John Woodward reports.
As the cars raced by, many fans were entranced by the sound of those engines.
I just like the loudness, watching the cars racing. It's just a fun experience.
The sheer power of the cars, a big draw to the Honda dealers Indy in Markham on Saturday for fans of all ages.
I love all the action, the vibe, the feeling. It's like music to my ears.
This day, the first time that sound was heard on the Markham track. It's the first year the race has moved north from Toronto's roar on the lakeshore, where cars raced since the mid-'80s. A sound that could have been heard Friday, but problems with setting up track features like a pedestrian bridge prompted a delay, leaving a festival full of fans with no cars to watch.
It's been good today, better than yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
It was very kind of confusing and hectic.
Call that a checkered start. IndyCar apologized and said the only race like it in Canada would catch up on Saturday.
The city of Markham did what we needed to do.
Markham's mayor told CTV News the city spent $13 million on the asphalt, which was ready 2 months ago, and he was glad the event was finally in gear.
When it comes to attracting tourists to our city, we hit it out of the park with this one. There's 150,000 people coming to the city of Markham over the course of the weekend.
Who's your favorite driver? Yeah, baby.
An amazing experience for Ben Goldberg and family to get a selfie with driver Pato Award, and he says the track is nice too.
I think the track is actually really fun. I think they did a great job. That hairpin in the straights is a lot of fun. Yeah. There's something very nostalgic about the Toronto one, though. 40 years, you can't recreate nostalgia. So it'll be a challenge, but you know what? They got 5 years to prove themselves.
At the festival, others were getting into the race car spirit and watching loud, fast cars cross the finish line somewhere new. John Woodward, CTV News.
If you look at Ontario, the LCBO, it doesn't have any extra shelf space to give to Nova Scotia products.
Still ahead, the impacts of a deal to allow brewers to sell direct to consumers across provincial lines, how the industry is reacting after the break. But before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It's a beautiful, clear day here in Ottawa, currently sitting at 23 degrees. The province is planning changes to Ontario's bail rules, which it says are aimed at improving accountability and ensuring compliance. The new regulations take effect on Monday, at which point accused people released on bail have 2 business days to provide a cash security deposit in the full amount pledged. Sureties will also be required to offer more up-to-date contact and identification details, and officials will gain enhanced collection tools for bail debts. For example, wage and bank account garnishments, along with property liens, seizures, and sales. Now, the province is investing another $35 million to support long-term care residents with complex needs. The money will go into the Local Priorities Fund, launched by the Ford government back in 2022. Eligible facilities can use the funds towards staffing, equipment, and services based on specific needs. Along with supporting current residents, the Ministry of Long-Term Care says the goal of this program is to support people's transitions out of hospitals and prevent unnecessary transfers to hospitals. Now, the weather system known as El Nino could be amped up this season into a super El Nino, bringing higher than normal temperatures to parts of Canada and around the world. The U.S. Climate Prediction Center notes a very active season ahead, with El Nino strengthening and a greater than 90% chance of a very strong event in the Northern Hemisphere. The weather pattern happens every 2 to 4 years when water in the eastern tropical Pacific becomes warmer than average, causing a shift in atmospheric conditions. The effect leads to milder winters and a less active hurricane season. Here in Ottawa, it has been a gorgeous day. Not experiencing some of the wild weather that we have had in the last few weeks here. Again, the wettest summer so far on record. Beautiful conditions today for Parks Canada's annual lock and paddle event. Look at all these paddlers out on the canal. This event combining color and community, people out on canoes and kayaks from all around on the historic Rideau Canal. And again, a beautiful day for that and a massive turnout too. It's nice when you get weather that really cooperates with an event like this. It certainly worked out. Not a lot of activity on the satellite radar all throughout the course of today and into this evening. We do have some clouds in the forecast and potential for some showers soon. More on that in just a moment. It's 16 degrees in St. John's. They are getting rain there. 20 degrees right now and mostly sunny in Halifax. 18 in Charlottetown. We're currently sitting at 23 degrees, not too far off of Toronto, with similar conditions at 24, and Quebec City at 21 degrees. Same clear conditions there. It's really a similar story right across the country. Very mild, very comfortable conditions. Not too hot and not cold. 21 degrees in Regina and in Calgary, 22 in Edmonton, and a beautiful day out on the west coast as well. 22 degrees in Vancouver. As we take a look at tonight's lows here in Ottawa, clear skies, easy for me to say. 11 degrees is the expected low. Some communities in our region dipping to below the double-digit mark. Cornwall at 9 and Bancroft at 8 degrees tonight. Mont-Tremblant also getting to 9 degrees tonight. 13 is the low in Gatineau. A little bit of cloud coverage in Maniwaki before we warm up to tomorrow's high of 22 degrees with that cloud building throughout the day and then potentially some showers. Chance of showers in the late evening hours for us here in Ottawa. They do have the risk of a thunderstorm in Kingston and a high of 27. Same story in Trenton. And similar conditions in Pembroke and in Bancroft with highs of 24 and 21 degrees respectively. 26 is the expected high in Bancroft, or rather in Bancroft. Was I right? Anyways, 22 degrees in Gatineau. It's a similar story right across the region. 23 is the expected high tomorrow in Montreal with that cloud building over the course of the day. 23 in Kemptville and another chance of some thunderstorms in Petawawa. The 7-day forecast shows us that chance of rain on Monday, 30% and a high of 25 degrees. 26 on Tuesday and 24-degree high on Wednesday with more rain likely continuing throughout parts of Wednesday into Thursday and rather settling sometime around Friday. There is a 10% chance with another high of 25. So staying in the mid-20s for the next 7 days. Well, a massive outdoor beer festival in downtown Halifax looks like a fun time for those attending, but the event also serves as a showcase for an industry that's trying to navigate numerous financial pressures brought on by tariffs and rising inflation. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more.
A sunny summer day in Halifax has huge crowds trying to quench their thirst and swarms of people sampling hundreds of locally made craft beers and other alcoholic beverages.
It's just more branding exercise.
This event comes almost a month after 9 Canadian premiers signed off on removing interprovincial barriers on alcohol sales.
It's always good to have new sales channels.
But Andrew Tanner doesn't expect his brews to see a sales boost.
If you look at Ontario, the LCBO, it doesn't have any extra shelf space to give to Nova Scotia products.
The move to loosen interprovincial trade barriers hasn't resulted in much benefit yet, and the financial pressure points on the microbrewing industry are mounting. Beer cans are now more expensive than ever because of the 50% U.S. tariff on aluminum.
That's just, more pain that either we have to absorb or pass on to the consumers.
As gas and diesel prices skyrocket, shipping costs have also escalated. The federal government has paused the fuel excise tax until September 7th. Extending the exemption longer would go a long way towards improving this brewery's bottom line.
For a brewery our size, it's a substantial amount of money that we save.
At a time when there are tariffs and shipping pressures on the microbrewery industry, an event like this allows independent operators to promote their product and attract new customers.
They can come here, they can try what they like, and then we get some customers out of that.
Thousands are trying beer, ciders, and seltzers for the first time.
This is a great way to see what else is out there.
And participating in a massive buy local showcase of Nova Scotia-made alcohol products.
I consider it one large demo. People get to try it before they buy it. They like it, they go to the local liquor store.
And in the process, support an industry that is facing increasing shipping costs and trade barriers. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Inside. Oh, my goodness me. Brigham should have done better. What a goal that is.
Still ahead, a barn burner of a match as Ottawa's Rapid FC visits Calgary for a tilt against Wild FC. We'll tell you how this thrilling game shaped up after the break.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Ottawa is always on the move.
We're a big city
with a laid-back vibe.
Where foodies love their sweets.
And markets bursting with flavor.
Wrapped up in waterways.
And hot summer days.
This is a city where culture is on display.
And the future
meets the past.
Where people come together.
Always proud.
Often loud.
Whee! And positively the best place to live.
We move with you, Ottawa!
In tonight's big picture, at least 38 people have been killed after a powerful earthquake that struck Indonesia. This video showing the partial collapse of a building as people in the area ran away in fear. The 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Indonesia early this morning, damaging several structures. Some tsunami waves of less than a meter were recorded in several areas as well around this Southeast Asian nation. Well, turning now to some of the other stories that you need to know. A group of kayakers raising money for the Canadian Cancer Society have arrived in Ottawa.
I don't know if you've been told. Kayaking for Cancer makes us bold. Kayaking for Cancer makes us bold.
They paddled between Kingston and the capital, raising more than $40,000 this year. That brings the total raised over 25 years of fundraising efforts to over $1 million. They pulled into the Rideau Canal locks at around 5:30 this afternoon.
Off the goal line.
Goal line, but Mina, how did that not go in? It might still. It has this time.
Ottawa's Rapid FC in Calgary this afternoon, taking on Wild FC, and this was a battle for the visitors. Mel Forbes scores this game-tying goal for the Rapid in stoppage time in the first half. There was lots of offense in the match, but Ottawa ultimately would go down 4-3 to Calgary. This is Ottawa's first loss in 11 games. Rapid FC plays again next Saturday when they will host Vancouver's Rise FC.
30 seconds left to play in the first half. Mayer, right over the middle. Touchdown, Ottawa! Greg Bell has his first as a member of the Red Blacks.
At least something to celebrate. At the midway point of the CFL season, the Ottawa Red Blacks are still looking for their first win of the season. They were on the road in Winnipeg last night where they played the Blue Bombers, and the Blue Bombers would win this one 33-21. This makes it 15 losses in a row for the Red Blacks dating back to last season. Ottawa heads to Montreal next to play the Alouettes on Thursday. WestJet has agreed to pay $4.5 million in a settlement in a class action sexual harassment lawsuit. The suit was brought forward by flight attendants in 2016. According to the lead complainant and her lawyer, more than 3,000 flight attendants are involved. They allege WestJet failed to provide a safe workplace, with one allegation of a pilot sexually assaulting a flight attendant during a layover in 2010. In a statement, WestJet stated it was pleased to have reached a settlement. Health Canada has issued a recall for several sauces and prepared food items over concerns of salmonella contamination. The foods were sold here in Ontario at Whole Foods Market. They include types of guacamole, salsa, and some other sauces, sometimes without a specific brand name listed. You can find a full list of affected products on the Canadian Food Inspection Agency's website, and there have been so far no reported illnesses here in Canada.
Well, I didn't realize it had happened until Rick came back, the marshal came back and told me it's in the hole. I said, it is not. He said, it is so. I didn't believe it at all.
This is a fun story. A 92-year-old golfer, can you believe it, in southwestern Ontario is marking her first ever hole-in-one. Verna Philby, who we just heard from, earned her first ever ace on the 8th hole at her local club in Chatham near Windsor. It was a 89-yard par 3. Philby says she's been golfing since her late 40s and typically plays about once a week. She told CTV News she celebrated her first ace with 4 Crown Royals on the 19th hole.
It's a gateway to better overall health.
Coming up, volunteering their time to provide dental care to people experiencing homelessness in Ottawa.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
It's time now to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
If you're still looking for plans this weekend, the Russell Fair continues through tomorrow with live music, midway rides, live talk shows, and of course all your favorite fair food. It's so much fun every year, and don't forget, fair season is still just getting underway. Another one to check out this weekend is RBC Ottawa International. Some of the world's top show jumping athletes are competing at Wesley Clover Parks through this weekend with Olympic level talent, local vendors, food trucks, and plenty of action, of course, both in and out of the ring. This is great if you have a horse lover in your family. Take them to check it out. Of course, lots more to do this weekend around the capital. Full list and all the details at ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, I'm Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
In case you missed it this week, for many, accessing a dentist can be difficult and expensive. But a dental clinic at the Ottawa Mission provides care to people experiencing homelessness, and all of it is for free. It's all thanks to dedicated dentists and professionals who volunteer their time. And CTV's Peter Sperling has that story.
And open again for me.
Roger Pilon actually likes going to the dentist.
Oh, I love the dentist.
Open a little bigger.
This visit for tooth pain is inside the Ottawa Mission's dental clinic, part of the Diamond Health Centre. It's among the services the mission offers, along with meals, shelter, and job training.
I need to close together.
Services are free for clients thanks to donations and dedicated professionals donating their time and expertise.
We are providing free emergency services, preventative and restorative dental care who are homeless or living at the shelters.
And it's a busy place. Last year, the clinic provided dental care to nearly 400 patients.
It's a gateway to better overall health. You're doing great. Here
Dr. Rania El-Hawari has a private practice in Ottawa, but also volunteers at the clinic.
I do this because giving back to my community is very important to me personally.
She's among roughly 50 dentists, dental hygienists, and others who volunteer here.
Part of social responsibility is important to me personally, as well as it's a core principle of my faith, my religion.
The clinic is about more than giving someone their smile back.
It's like you're giving them their life because you also improve their self-confidence.
Their work making a difference.
This place is phenomenal. You know, it's as far as I'm concerned, the best clinic in the city.
Beautiful.
Helping patients like Pilon, grateful for the care.
Roger, how do you feel? Frozen, but good. I'm glad it's taken care of. Very happy, yeah.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Well, as the cost of living creeps up in Canada, so too does the cost of pet care. For some, it's simply too much, and they're faced with a difficult decision. CTV's Alex Carpa with the strain that's now being felt at animal shelters.
There's little signs of infection still in there.
6-year-old Hero was brought to the Winnipeg Pet Rescue Shelter about 2 weeks ago with brutal injuries. It's believed the Chihuahua was attacked by a larger dog.
A gentleman walked in with him, put them on the desk and said, I can't afford the vet bills, and turned and walked out.
Martinelli Irvine says the infection was so severe the vet believes Hero was injured more than a week before he arrived at the shelter.
It was unbearable, and we're seeing more and more of this.
She says the shelter has taken in nearly 200 animals this year as owners struggle with rising veterinary costs.
We are struggling. Just little Hero's bill alone, his vet bill, is $7,000.
The Winnipeg Humane Society is seeing the same trend. It says 500 pets came through its doors last month, including 150 which were surrendered by their owners. In June, that number was 461 with the same amount of surrenders, but the cases are becoming more complex.
We're seeing animals potentially later with significantly more pressing medical and or behavioral needs, so requiring greater resources.
She says prevention is key. The Society offers inner-city, low-cost spay-neuter programs.
We need more. We need more of those types of accessible accesses for people, or accessible veterinary care for people, including preventative.
As more animals come through the doors, shelters are feeling the strain.
It really affects the animals because they're often the last to get what they need.
Saying more affordable access to veterinary care could help prevent cases like Hero's from becoming emergencies in the first place. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
All over the world, we've had people from as far as Belgium and France stop in.
Still ahead, how a small-town restaurant is attracting customers from here in Ottawa and right around the world. A social media challenge is putting a small family restaurant in rural Manitoba on the map, and it's bringing in guests from Ottawa and right around the world. As CTV's Stanton Unger explains, visitors are coming from far and wide.
A 2-hour drive southwest of Winnipeg, you'll find the Somerset Food Bar, famous for its fried chicken and friendly faces.
It's quintessential small-town Manitoba. All the locals love coming here. It's their getaway from home.
But this summer, it's also become a global destination.
All over the world, we've had people from as far as Belgium and France stop in.
It all started back in July, the dog days of summer when business at the restaurant typically slows down. Manager Jay Friesen created a simple social media challenge and posted it online.
We challenged ourselves to get 60 towns to visit our little restaurant in 60 days.
We thought 60 towns would be difficult enough to get this summer in 60 days, and day one we were blown away at the response.
Friesen's challenge went viral, and in just 10 days, people from across Manitoba had filled the list. But it didn't stop there. As word of the challenge spread, people kept showing up.
Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Mather, Pansy, Phoenix, Arizona, what?
Since then, we've upped the level to 100 and now all the way to 200, and we're getting near that goal as well.
As of Friday, Friesen has welcomed visitors from 186 towns. On this list, communities from across Canada and at least 9 different countries.
It's exciting for them to just be part of this crazy little Manitoba story.
Even the locals have been enjoying the fresh faces around town.
I think it's great to have little small town businesses part of the larger community.
With a few weeks left of summer, Friesen is looking forward to seeing how many more visitors from home and abroad may pop in for a visit.
It's really turned into this like grassroots support local, all Canadian, just local support challenge. It's hard to put into words sometimes.
Stanton Unger, CTV News, Somerset, Manitoba.
They're so ugly, they're actually kind of cute. I'm talking about the dogs here. After the break, we'll take you to California for the world's ugliest dog contest. There's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is 23 degrees.
Tonight, fears of an uncertain future.
I would say it's a big step up. We depend on it.
What key automaker may be shutting its doors for good, and the devastating impact it could have on one community. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Welcome back. We're going to take one last look at the weather forecast and your 7-day forecast. That's what you can expect to wake up to. 13 degrees and sunny. The cloud will start rolling in from there, and then we do expect some showers to start off the work week on Monday. 30% chance. 26-degree high on Tuesday. The rain will return on Wednesday and likely last through Thursday, potentially through all of next weekend, but we're going to be staying in the mid-20s for the next 7 days. Time now to check in to see what our news team will be working on tonight. Kimberly Fowler's here.
Well, hopefully the weather stays as nice as it was today, because tonight is the grand finale of Le Grand Feu de Casino Lac Ligny. This wraps up 3 weeks of friendly competition between China, France, Brazil, and of course Canada. The grand final will celebrate heroes, including superheroes, incredible athletes, and unsung heroes of everyday life. Now, the show starts at 9:30, so definitely want to get there early to get a good spot to see those fireworks. And you can get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca. Join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Looking forward to that, Cam, and it should be a beautiful night for it as well, nice and clear. Finally, for us tonight, this is not your typical beauty pageant.
Yeah, typical looks won't win this for the contestants. A crown, a sash, or the title as well.
Contestants in the world's ugliest dog competition. This is in Santa Rosa, California, now in its 50th year. And they get a moment to shine and share their story as well. The dogs, who have already been adopted because of their uniqueness, have had difficulties in past lives, but despite them, they remain in good spirits. One dog you won't find there, Stella, which belongs to Kyle and Marie Colette, because Stella is adorable, and I told them I'd give them a shout out. They just recently got married, so congratulations to the lovebirds. But yeah, what a fun dog competition.
Yeah, and it sounds like they got a good looking dog.
Yeah,
too.
they do. Yeah, they got a cute one. Like I said, you won't find it at that competition.
Yeah, they're so ugly that they're adorable.
Exactly. Good night, everybody.